In Blender 4.1, I want to experiment with hair particle systems, soft body physics, collision physics, camera settings, lighting, and rendering. I want to make a whole scene. So to do this, I have sort of an idea in my head. I want to make a bouncy ball. So I'm going to delete the initial cube here. I'm going to insert a plane. And I'm going to scale this up. And then I'm going to use Shift A to insert a cube. And I'm just going to flatten it here and stretch it out. So I'm going to put this cube up here and rotate it. It's a bit less. And we'll bring it up here. And then I'm going to copy and paste this, move it along here, rotate it this way, and set it back like so. So I'm actually going to move this way a bit. And then I'm going to add another cube, stretch it out using the scale tool, bring it about here, and this is going to be the base for our scene. So I'm going to add another object, and this one's going to be an icosphere, which I'm going to bring to the top here, and I'm going to shade it smooth. So I'm going to add the soft body physics modifier to this icosphere. Now what you'll see happening is if we add to each of these cubes here, if we add a collision modifier from the physics tab, and we press play, you'll see that it's currently not moving. That's because we need to go into the settings and remove the goal option here. Now you'll see it falls, it's deforming a lot, and we can fix this by going into the settings here. So we'll move this back. We're going to go into, gonna open up these settings. Don't need the cache. So if we go into the edges setting, if we increase this to 0.6, and test it again, it's a bit better. We could also increase the bending. So if I put that to 0.9, we can see that that's a lot better now. So the bending, basically, it's how much the model caves in on itself. And we can see that that's working very nicely. I am going to decrease the size of the sphere here using the scale tool so that it's a lot smaller and we have some more interaction as a result. I'm going to move the wall closer just because I want it to bounce off of the object. And now if we replay this, we can see we have some interaction there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the icosphere and go back into modifier. We're going to add a new modifier in the physics tab called particle system. So if we go into the settings here, we'll see we have emitter and hair. We're going to select the hair option. From here, we're going to change the hair length to 0.25, just so it's nice and small. We're also going to increase the number of hair strands, which makes it look a lot better. Then if we go into children, we can make it look even better by turning on simple. So basically what the children feature does is it adds extra number of particles around the cube. Not cube, icosphere. We can also increase the randomness, which if we zoom in and we turn it down again, just adds a bit more randomness to it. You can also go into the clumping settings and decrease it a bit, just makes it a bit more smooth. You can also go into roughness and increase the uniform a bit, and the randomness here. So if we play this now, we can see that it's working. We also want to enable hair dynamics here, which will add physics to the hair when it interacts with the collision objects. We can also increase the quality to 7, and we can see we have more settings here, so I'm going to increase this to 0.7 on each. And now when we drop it, it is slowing down just because there is a lot of particles that it is simulating, but this won't be an issue during the final render. But we can see that it's working as we want it to. I could increase the dampening a bit, so I want to see how that has an effect here. Increase the quality here, and we watch it fall. We can see that's a lot better. Now I'm gonna go into the settings here, and in render I'm going to turn on B-spline, and I'm going to set this to 4. If we reset the animation, that looks good. So now we want to bake this animation in, so we're going to go to start here, and we're going to go into the cache, and we're going to bake all dynamics. So as you can see at the bottom here, it's going along and baking the animation into the keyframes, and so we'll just wait for this to finish, and you can see there is a little percentage here of how complete it is. Now that this is done, I'm going to set up the lighting and camera angles before we render our animation. So for the lighting, I'm going to go into the world settings, the side here, and we're going to make it white. just for brightness. I'm also going to go into the shading tab just to add some color to the animation. So I'm going to add a new material, and I'm going to make a red fluffy ball. So I'm going to edit some of the settings here. So if we turn the roughness up a little bit, and if we go into specular and we turn it up to about 0.8 here, I'll put this at a nice 0.7. You can see that adds a little bit of shading to the ball. I'm also going to add a new material to the collision area objects, and we're just going to color in the scene slightly. So I'm going to use this nice pale blue, and I'm going to apply this same material from here. That's the wrong one. This one. To the rest of the collision objects. So now we have this nice little scene here, and if we go into the animation tab and we turn at the top here, viewport shading, we can see that the animation now plays in color. And if we click the render setting, we can see that we have the white light as well, which creates shadows on the objects. So now I want to fix the camera settings for the animation. So I'm going to set the animation back to the beginning, select the camera, and get our initial shots. So pressing Control, Alt, and 0 on the number pad, we have this initial frame here. Now I'm just going to press I to keyframe it to all channels. And we're going to let the animation play a little bit. And down here, we're now going to come out, change the angle a bit. Again, press Control, Alt, 0 on the number pad. I'm actually going to move it to the side a bit here. Press I again. Let the animation play a little bit. Pause it right here. We'll zoom in a bit. We're going to come at this sort of angle. Let it play a bit more. I'm going to move the camera down. Press I again. The animation play. Move the camera down here. Press I to keyframe. Pause it again. Keyframe this. Keyframe that. Wait for it to fall back down here. Zoom in on it. Add another keyframe. Change the camera gradually. And that should be our camera movements. So if we go to the start here and we just press play, we'll now see how the camera moves with the animation to follow it around. And again, this is slow because we haven't rendered it and it's simulating a lot of particles at one time. But we're just going to play it through to make sure that we got all the angles correctly. So that's pretty good. What did I do there? Okay. And that looks good. As you can see currently here, the animation is rendering one frame at a time, as you can see in the top here, and it's going to continue to do this until it's done. So I will upload the finished render separately. So it's going to allow me to download each frame into an image format. I picked PNG because it's lossless, so we won't lose any quality in the final video, and then I'll compile each image together to create a MP4 video.